Good day, everybody. How are we doing here? So, today's video is going to be titled If You Do Not Stand for Something, You Will Fall for Everything. Let me repeat that. If you do not stand for something, or one thing at least, you will fall for everything. Why am I making this video? Uh, I had a conversation with a gentleman yesterday on Clubhouse, and if you use the app Clubhouse, I go in there every now and then to just decongest and waste time. So, it's a gentleman that I reached in and we had a private conversation. We were talking about. So I was making a joke. I was like, "Oh man, every time people move to your city, they become weird, right?" I'm not gonna mention the city, um, but there was a specific city where a lot of people that I've seen on the social media they moved to this city, and then suddenly there's this whole new side of them that is incongruent with what they've shown, and we were just talking about it, and he was just like, "Yeah, that's true. Like, man, many people just switch up, and then suddenly, like, I'm like, I don't recognize them." And I'm like, the reason why it's so easy for a lot of people to follow the trend is because they do not have an identity of their own that is grounded, that is stand on. They don't have something that they can hold on to and call theirs. And this mostly stems from childhood, where maybe you didn't really have a solid, home like environment that grounded you, gave you a belief that you knew who you were, you knew your belief sets. You know, I always say it doesn't really matter what your parents' belief set they give you, whether you think is right or wrong, but it's very important for them to give you a belief set. I once read a paper by a rabbi where he said the people that are marrying between two different religions, it is very important that you give your child one religion, one identity to call their own. So let's say a Jewish person is marrying a Christian person. It's very important that the Christian person or the Jewish person decide that, hey, we're gonna go with this and do that. Like, you give the children one identity. A lot of adults start to make children make adult decisions. Oh, we're gonna let them decide. It's a cop out because it's your responsibility to take care of that child's mentality. But you're gonna be like, in the spirit of fairness, we're gonna let them decide, and you end up messing up the child long term, right? So it's very important that you, and I read that and it was very telling. He was just like, it's unfair to give the child, to ask the child to pick between mommy and daddy. Just pick one, be okay with that, and that kind of thing. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. I never saw it that way. And I kind of agree. A lot of people didn't grow up, not just from a religious perspective, but just loving background. I grew up, I didn't really grow up with my mother, but I never really felt like I wasn't loved. There was no day in my life that I did not feel like I was loved. Trust me, and I grew up in a large family, tough love like my dad, but I never thought I wasn't loved or anything because I knew that there was food on the table. My family taught me gratitude. Went to a good school, prestigious school. If I didn't do well in my studies, I was told that if I did well, I would not to want to go give my dad the results so that I could, use that opportunity to ask him for like a cheeky change. But I never like did they care about me was never up for question. My dad never told me he loved me, or he didn't need to tell me. If you gotta be telling somebody every day that you care about them, maybe you haven't done a good job of showing them, or you're conditioning to feel like it's the words that matter the most. It's not the words, in my personal opinion, that matter the most. They do matter for some people more than others, but the actions are the most important thing. I didn't need my father to tell me he loved me. His actions proved other. That's only somebody that would really care about you that would do that. And in yes, there's same things you see that you're not sure about, but I was a Muslim and I kid going to a Christian school, and I never felt out of place because I had a strong identity of who I am from home. We knew who we were. We were northern Nigerian Muslim children. So even when we went to a Christian school, we didn't feel like the odd ones out or anything because we were firm in our own identity. Nobody could come and tell me who I was or wasn't because I already knew that. And if I wasn't sure, I just had my dad to ask, or my mom to ask, or my uncle to ask, right? Or my stepmother to ask, that kind of thing. A lot of children don't grow up with that, and I don't blame them. Society has failed them. They've probably grown up in a household where the parents themselves are not grounded, and they pass that lack of grounding to the child, and now the child is all types of confused, right? And then the child grows up and goes into a new environment, and that lack of confusion, that presence of confusion plays out, where the child then sees other confused people or spouting different ideas, right or wrong, and they easily latch onto that because they want to have what? A sense of grounding. And that's why you see a lot of the children that end up joining gangs. If you look at their history, they had problems with mom or dad, with authority, right? A lot of people, they end up with gangs, and now the policeman is telling you hands up, don't move. But because for your lack of authority, you always want to, fight that or whatever, and you escalate the situation, and sometimes people lose their lives. Now, please don't get into the whole police brutality case with me. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm just saying, if you had a sense of grounding, it'll be easier for you to interact with other people because you know who you are, you know what you stand for. So, for example, if you have a sense of grounding and your parents have given you an identity, you know who you are. When you go to a place and somebody's espousing bad ideas, like maybe a part of a gang, you do not feel any need to belong to that tribe because you already have a tribe of your own. Your father, your mother, you know where is home or where home is. You know where you can call home. And you are welcome there because you have obeyed the rules and regulations of that home. You fit in, right? And your parents have done a good job. But not everybody's going to fit in. Some people are always going to be rebellious. But for the most part, if you do the right things, you're going to fit in. But if you never really had that, now somebody's telling you, come, let's go rob a shop. Because you want to belong to that tribe, you're going to go and then thinking you're going to believe that robbing shops is the right thing to do. Or now there's a new hashtag in town you want to go to. There's a new trend in town. There's go to, oh, I got pronouns. You need to get pronouns too. And anybody. So you just start borrowing ideas. And you can see it with a lot of people. You go on their social media, they have this hashtag. There's a new Black Lives Matter. They're on it. White Lives Matter. They're on it. Free Palestine. They're on it. Free Israel. They're on it. Anti-blackness. They're on it. Bring back our girls. They're on it. I'm not saying it's not okay to care about, but they're basically on every single hash. You cannot be one person and care about every single thing that is going wrong with the world. That's very terrible energy because you're always just going to be angry. You're always angry about something. Don't get me wrong. I care about some of these things. I care about the things going on in places like Palestine and Israel, right? I care about some of the things that black people face, police brutality. But I recognize that I have a limited source of soul and energy and power that I have to place my, I have to prioritize my energy, right? Oh, somebody might be like, man, that's such a shame, man. But just because it's not my job to always solve every single problem. I cannot do that. And true maturity is recognizing that and then preserving your energy. You pick and choose your moments, right? It's like a boxing fight. If you're just coming up, you just want to punch everywhere, you're going to tire yourself out. You have to reserve. You pick and choose when to throw a punch, when to block, when not to do anything, when to breathe. But if you're just coming out, you just want to hit everything, you're just going to tire out yourself. You got to pick and choose your moments. And that's very important. And I see it a lot of people. And I was telling this gentleman yesterday when we were discussing on Clubhouse, I said, privately, of course. And I remember telling him, I said, hey, because he was talking about how, certain people that do these things, maybe on the social media, they've had certain opinions about myself or other people. And we were just laughing about it. And I was just like, hey, man, what you need to understand, you need to have compassion for these people. When you understand that they're not intentionally doing that, a lot of them they just want to find a place they fit. It's like your mom telling you, do not say good morning to people. You know that saying good morning is the right thing to do. But if you're a young kid, you want to find a sense of belonging. If you don't do that, your mom's not going to be happy. She's not going to give you food. So you do the wrong things. But that's the thing. Like I was telling you, me and you were a bit more aware. We had that lack of identity when we were 5 or 6. We done been through that stage. But a lot of people haven't, and especially in the tech community, where a lot of people have always been introverted. They don't really have great social skills. Mentally, they haven't really grown past their 10-year-old selves. Just because they have a good tech paying job, they own a home and everything, they're still children up here. So they almost like stopped developing on that level because they never really went out to talk to people. They didn't really have that grounding. So I was trying to tell him that that stage, that thing we went through when we were 5, where we were trying to put earrings, we're trying to color, paint our hair, try different looks. Then we grew out of it. They just doing that now. Now is when they're getting that energy. We've been there, done that. Our parents realized they'll grow out of it. They're just doing that now. So you need to understand, have compassion. They're trying to find where they fit, right? Doesn't mean that what they're doing is right. A lot of them are doing some things that it's not my business, but I don't think is right, and it does have repercussions because it does affect some other people. If it didn't affect nobody, I wouldn't really care. But when you're, especially with cancel culture, when you're going after people or that don't believe what you believe, that can be dangerous. So I was telling you that you need to understand that they are just doing that now, and when you understand that, you come from a place of compassion. So when I look at some of these people that exhibit these behaviors, I'm never angry at them. I detest their attitudes, but I'm never really angry at them because all I have for them is compassion, right? Now, it doesn't mean I have to tolerate them, but I have compassion because I understand that it's an emptiness that they have and they need to fit in, right? And I just hope that they do not destroy themselves before they realize that. A lot of people come back from the abyss, but not everybody's going to come back. So when you understand that, then you can kind of look at them and see, oh, they're looking for a place to belong. And that's why today every hashtag is their hashtag. Every problem is their problem. And, instead of looking themselves in the mirror and work on the emptiness that they feel. So, you have to stand for something. If you do not stand for something, it's easy for you to fall for everything. You fall for everything. Everything. Somebody come bring a new job, a new kid, everything. You will fall for it. And that's very important because you got to pick what you stand for. And there's things that other people stand for that you want to stand for, but you got to stand on your own. For example, I'm Muslim. I don't believe what Christians believe. I don't believe what Jews believe, But I got to stand on my own morals and convictions. And they can stand on theirs. I'm a traditional guy. I don't believe what modern people, postmodernist people believe. Like I don't believe that. But I understand that's what they want to do. They get the consequences that they want to do. The same thing with me. So I got to make peace that, hey, this is what a traditional guy is. This is what traditional, if I want to end up with a traditional woman, this is what she would expect from me. If I'm okay with that kind of thing. This age where everybody wants to muddy the waters for the terms. Oh, what is masculinity? What is femininity? No. You don't need to muddy those terms. You can't muddy that. You can't create your own version and expect to have the same outcome. If you create your own version of femininity or masculinity, you're not gonna have the same outcome as everybody else, and you don't deserve to. Be okay with that. That's fine. Not everybody has to qualify to the same things. You cannot want the outcomes you want in life and not be willing to represent the face or do the work necessary required or present the persona required for that outcome. It's like me walking into a meeting room with shorts, right, and dirty and then smelly, and because I'm the smartest guy in the room, I expect that outcome. Yes, somebody might give me that benefit of that, but it's better off I need to come up clean with a nice suit on, with a nice dress on, my laptop, and bring that presentation. That's the kind of thing. You got to be able to present the personas. You got to be able to stand for something and understand that that's just how things work. And sometimes there are nuances, but for the most part, that's how you have to find something you stand for. And when you stand for something, it's going to be harder for you to fall for everything. When I moved to England, I saw a lot of young children go astray, go learn how to drink themselves, drugs, try everything. A lot of young girls go, mess around with a lot of wrong guys and, bust it open for every other person. And they realize that now it's too late because you made those decisions. Now you have to live with the consequences. You're a young boy, you were doing drugs, and now you've messed up your system, your finances. Now you've been rehab once or twice. That's something you're gonna live with. Hey, your little mama, you busted open for everybody. Now there's 20 videos of you out there. Unfortunately, but you gotta live with those consequences. And what I saw myself doing is because I came from a grounded family. I had a sister to talk to, a mother, a father, right? It was easy for me to see these young people doing these things, trying out these drugs and everything. Well, I didn't want to because I don't already seen all of that. I always had that voice in my head. This is not the right thing. But they were just going through that stage. And mostly because a lot of them, their parents had failed them. Their parent, I always say, a balanced child is not a child you shield from the fire. It's the child you allow to go close to the fire so that they can feel the heat. So that when they see the fire without you, they will know not to go. But if you shield the child every day, the day the child will see the fire, it's not gonna know the fire is hot, and it's just gonna run into this shiny thing. And by the time it realizes how hot it is, the scars, the third degree burns are there to show. My parents let me go out, indulge, see people, talk to people. Yeah, gave me time to come back home, but I spoke to people. And if they saw me doing certain things that I was picking up from the outside, they were quick to tell me that's wrong and told me why. And gave me the consequences that if I did this was what's going to happen. A lot of people didn't have that. So in some ways, have empathy, compassion for them, but you don't have to tolerate them. So you have to stand for something. You have to know what you stand for. And if it's okay if you do not know what you stand for, that means you are aware that other people can influence you. That means it's going to be harder for them to influence you because you've accepted that you are this sponge and you're going to take in things. I protect my energy now because I know the type of things I want to be. I want to have a lot of money, I want to help people. The type of friends I hang around are people that also are on my journey, man. They're on their purpose. I got friends that are architects, doctors. They read and now we know, like for example, a lot of the investment opportunities I have are from friends of friends. Hey man, my friend is invested in this. Today I had 2 meetings with people telling them about some investment I made and how it was turning up. And now I'm giving them the game because I trust them. They're on the same wavelength as me. I know they've done the work to earn that type of money. I know they've done the work to be who they need to be. So now we're compounding knowledge, interest, finances. Because I know what I stand for. I know what they stand for. Or even if I don't know what they stand for, they know I communicate what I stand for. So if they're not with it, I'll know quickly. If they're with it, I'll know quickly. You tend to just vibrate. So it's very important. But if you stand for everything, then anybody can just come and tell you anything. You're gonna believe it. So you gotta be careful, man. It's very important you learn to stand for something. And it's not gonna cover everything in life. That's fine, but it's something that you can call your own. You're grounded. And if you haven't figured that out, take the time. First of all, accept that other people have influence on you. And be skeptic to whatever the people are bringing to you. And you start to resonate. Ask yourself the true questions. And that kind of thing. And that's why when I moved to England, it wasn't easy for anybody to come and tell me who, do this, do that, this girl, this boy to come and tell me no. Because I knew who I was. I didn't need my dad to tell me that, hey, I was going to say good morning to the random person. Every time I get into Ubers, I tell people, good afternoon. And the Uber drivers sometimes are like, oh, good. Yeah, thank you. Because that's how I was raised. My dad is not there to say good afternoon to uncle or this person. I just say that. I know when I go into people's houses, the first thing I do, I take off my shoes. That's my culture. I agree with it. That's okay. I know when they give me food, I say thank you. I know to help them clean. I know to do certain things. I don't have to do those things, but I understand because that's the identity that was given to me. And I know that I can hold on to it. Recently, I had some guy come clean my stuff. So when I went outside to let him in, his daughter was like, good morning. And I was like, wow, in London, a young kid for no reason telling me good morning? That says a lot about your daddy. And me and her dad had a long conversation. Morals. I represent my father. I represent my family. I am a representation of them. So a lot of the habits I exhibit is because they gave me that foundation. If it was a bad one, you could see it. But because they gave me a very good one, now I have. And now when I'm raising my kids, there were certain things that also maybe they might have given me that I don't really think is necessary. I'll take out throw away the bones and preserve the muscle, the meat. I'm going to do that. I'll refine to make it work for my case. But for the most part, I am grounded by the values that they have. If I start getting 69 girls pregnant, my sister's not going to be with it. My mom's not going to be with it. They will let me know. I know exactly what my grounders are. It's very important. Know what your grounders are. Figure it out. Stand for something. Because if you do not stand for something, you're going to fall for everything. Sani Yusuf out.